First things first, yes, I know I'm in desperate need of a haircut. Hopefully by the time this video goes out, I'll have had one though, so that problem's already dealt with. The other problem is I've got to cover Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One. Alright, I'm going to be real gentle with you because I know this is a lot of people's favorite movie, and I know that a lot of you in the comments are going to be really sensitive about how I talk about this movie. Like, I get it, it's the Legendary Birds movie, it's the Lugia song movie, whatever. It's not that good. It's quite boring as movies go. Like, it's quite boring as Pokemon movies go, and they're not exactly masterpieces of cinema, are they? I'm going to do my best to be as respectful as possible. But also, fuck that, this is WTF Moments! I'm gonna rip it apart. Ow. The movie begins with a prophecy being read by this guy, who from the word go is very obviously the antagonist of the film. And of course, he has a British accent. That's because if there's one thing America knows about us Brits, it's that we're all massive cunts. Direct quote from the guy's computer regarding Moltres, Zapdos and Articuno.
Historical documents confirm that the 3 legendary Pokémon are unique species found only in the vicinity of Shamuti Island.
Really? Only in the vicinity of Shamuti Island? Then how do you explain the Moltres that everyone saw at the Indigo League? Like, it isn't as if there was one insane person claiming they'd seen Moltres. An entire stadium full of people saw it. I genuinely really hate this guy's flying laboratory thing. It's just way too over-designed. You could have just had him in a blimp, but no, you had to go for the over-the-top flying fortress to really get your point across. We get it. He's evil. Also, I don't get why this extra section had to lower out of the bottom dome to reveal some cannons when the bottom dome already has cannons on it anyway. Like, what are those bigger cannons for then? Just for show? This is what I mean when I say this thing is way over-designed. Mate, all the way through this scene, Moltres' cry just sounds like an actual human woman screaming. But it's kind of muffled, so it kind of sounds like she's about 2 or 3 blocks away. It kind of reminds me of back when I used to live with my parents and you'd hear a random scream from a couple of streets away and my dad would be like, "Oh, sounds like someone's being murdered." Now I'm just wondering if anyone else's parents made jokes like that, or I just come from a really weird family. But yeah, Moltres' cry is just a woman's blood-curdling scream. Pass it on. Hold up! Tracey's hair is green? Since when? I swear it's been black all this time. Or does that mean he's washed his hair for the first time in ages, so it's not just looking darker because it's all greasy? Either way, Tracey, sort your head out, mate. I love that after Tracey asks Ash if they have enough time for them to let their Pokemon out for a bit of fresh air, this absolute girl boss piloting the boat answers for him and says, yeah, you know what, it should be fine, we've got like an hour left to travel. I know she's just supposed to be kindly answering the question, but it properly comes across like,
excuse me, mate, this is my boat, yeah? I'll decide whether your Pokemon can come out or not this little prick.
Wait, I thought Charizard was listening to Ash now. Why doesn't he just tell Charizard to stop using Flamethrower?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find this movie did originally release before the Charizard Chills episode aired, so maybe you should have covered that episode after this movie.
I mean, maybe, but later in the movie, Charizard obeys Ash without question, so I guess I can't win either way. Snorlax's face when he's about to capsize the boat is amazing. He's just there like,
your suffering will end soon, tiny humans.
This isn't really a WTF moment, but it is super wholesome. Tracey's Venonat looks absolutely terrified as Scyther desperately tries to keep him from being swept overboard in the storm. And make the most of this, because this is pretty much the most personality we ever see out of Tracey's Venonat in the entire series. Well, someone's got to say it. Trust Professor Oak to know the time and place for bike riding. Professor Oak compliments Delia Ketchum on her gardening, and Delia says the beautiful weather really helps, to which Oak replies,
well, this is the time of year where the sun shines every day.
Jesus fucking Christ. Oak, mate, that was some tragic banter. She said the weather was beautiful, and your response was to define summer. Samuel Oak has zero game. Pass it on. All of a sudden, it starts pouring with rain, so Mimey runs inside to grab an umbrella. But just for Delia. Yeah, get fucked, Oak. Get your own brolly. Ah. I retract my previous statement. It turns out this wasn't the time, and especially wasn't the place to be riding a bike. Jesus Christ, is that Gen 1 Tapu Koko? Never mind, it's just a cosplayer, who's obviously cosplaying as Gen 1 Tapu Koko. Now when Marin asks Carol,
"You're gonna be the star of the show again?"
while making this gesture, I know she's talking about playing the flute, but man, without context, they're really making the Legend Festival sound like an orgy. And that Carol is obviously really good with her fingers, if you know what I mean. Direct quote from Carol.
No, I'm too old to be the festival maiden anymore, so my little sister's gonna take over for me.
Oh God. Oh God. No, no, no. I take back the orgy thing. I take back the orgy thing. Christ, that joke got out of hand real quick. We get introduced to Melody, who from the get-go is a complete arsehole. And yes, Pokemon, we get it. She's called Melody in a movie about Lugia's song. Very droll. For real though, these people are just cosplayers. Look, this guy's come as Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. Now, if you're not a Muppet, hit the like button so everyone knows you're not. And of course, share this video on social media to help out the channel massively, and leave a lovely comment down below because that also massively helps the channel. And if you can't think of a comment, just use something generic like
Lugia? More like Poogia? Lol.
Or if it's easier, just comment the name of the secret Pokemon I've hidden somewhere in the video. And if you're new to the channel, how the fuck did you get here? I'm so sorry. But thank you for giving my channel a chance. Hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you never miss an episode of Pokemon WTF Moments or our wonderful series, Siri Battles, which is every Sunday. Go check it out. Absolutely underrated series, if I do say so myself. But come on, there are 43% of you watching WTF Moments who are not yet subscribed. Let's fix that. Let's sort that right out. And of course, we are now at 1.74 million subscribers. And I know it doesn't look like it, but if you hit subscribe today, maybe YouTube will add that extra zero. Missing zero, extra zero. One of the two. It doesn't matter. It's a joke. No, you're a joke, cunt. Oi! It's nasty. Anyway, Melody asks Misty if she's Ash's sister. When Misty says she isn't, Melody says, well then, you must be his girlfriend. Yeah, of course, because those are the only two options in this scenario. It's no wonder we were all so dumb as kids if we were learning social skills from characters like this. After Melody basically says she wants to be with Ash without expressly saying it, she tells Misty not to get jealous, and Misty, understandably, gets annoyed. As always, I'd like to point out Pokeshippers will tell you this is because Misty has feelings for Ash, but she doesn't want to admit it, and is now frustrated because another girl is vying for his affection. But just for a moment, let's take off our Pokeship tinted glasses and put on our reality glasses. And let's remember that when you're friends with someone and you're only friends and that's the only way you see them, but someone comes along and is like, you two would make a cute couple, you clearly fancy each other, when you know that you don't, that shit gets really annoying really quickly. You know, back in the day when a lad would hang out with a girl for the first time and it'd be like, oh my god, so when's the wedding? And you're like, fuck off, I just want to trade Pokemon with the bird, shut up. So anyway, to get to my point, Ash and Misty are friends, that's all they'll ever be. And, reminder, they're both 10 years old, so friends is all they should ever be. And of course, if hearing me say that makes you feel compelled to try and convince me why two fictional 10-year-olds are definitely in love, I'd suggest taking a step back and asking yourself why two children becoming a couple is so important to you. Yeah, sounds creepy when you say it out loud, doesn't it? Also, how the hell did Melody know Misty's name? Ash is the only one who introduced himself. So the Islanders declare Ash the chosen one because he's a Pokemon trainer. And apparently it was written in legend that he would come to this island. Oh, we just gonna skip over the fact that Misty and Tracey are also Pokemon trainers? Why aren't they the chosen ones? The next scene begins with Marin finishing a joke with the line,
And then she says, no, but I have Krabbies.
nah, I'm not touching that one. Not gonna lie. Lugia's song? Kind of overrated. Like, don't get me wrong, it's absolutely lovely, but people talk about it like it's a masterpiece, when really, it's just okay. Like, it just reminds me of the tune that summons the aliens in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I do get that if you grew up with this movie, then maybe hearing that song gives you a little nostalgic boost of serotonin, but objectively, this song's fine at best. Soz. I would say all this real world fruit is making me kind of hungry, but let's face it, that pineapple looks all kinds of off, mate. Direct quote from Ash.
Some things are more important than fun.
Don't you hate that we all had to grow up and learn this? After Marin offers to take Ash on his chosen one journey tonight, Pikachu steals Ash's hat and runs off with it. To Marin's boat. Pikachu, mate, they were going on the boat anyway. You didn't need to lead them there. Now you just look like a tosser. Alright, let's talk about this twatty talking Slowking. Why does it need to talk? Is this really the best we could think of to provide a little bit of extra exposition? Couldn't there just have been a village elder that lives near the shrine that just happens to have a Slowking?
Well, actually, Liam, I think you'll find Slowking's a super intelligent psychic type Pokemon, so that's probably why it can talk.
Well then, why don't all Slowking talk? And why does it talk using its mouth? It's psychic. Surely it should be able to communicate telepathically, which would at least be more believable somehow. As they rush to go and help Ash, Misty and Melody bicker at each other. Because Misty wants Melody to understand that she's only worried about Ash because he's her friend, and not because she secretly likes him, because she doesn't. Now then, that is perfectly valid, but then Melody drops the old,
Okay, but you're super sensitive about someone who's not your boyfriend.
I hate conversations like this, because they're always catch-22s, aren't they? Like if Misty continues to argue, Melody will insist that it's because Misty's trying to hide her true feelings. But if Misty stops arguing about it, Melody's gonna think she was right and be a smug arsehole about it. There's no winning with people like that. What we're witnessing here is a form of bullying, plain and simple. Melody is a bully. Confirmed. Tracey interrupts with, "You talking about me?" Tracey, sweetie, trust me, nobody's talking about you. But if anyone is talking about you, they're definitely talking about what a colossal twat you are. Whilst Oak and Delia are watching a report on the strange weather phenomenon going on, something smashes through the window of Oak's lab. And they immediately go back to watching the weather report. Oak, mate, something just smashed through your window. At least check it out. What if it's an injured Pidgey or something? Oak, mate, use your noodle. Professor Oak gets a call from Professor Ivy and we see Brock. Oh man, I miss Brock. Anyway, we see Brock running around in the background trying to keep all the Pokemon under control. But why are they all regular Pokemon? I thought all the Pokemon at Ivy's lab were all adapted to the tropical climate. Pokemon, you've got to remember your own bullshit, lads. When the waves flip Melody's boat, Team Rocket fall out of it and the tarpaulin they were hiding under becomes a makeshift parachute and gets caught by the wind and sends them deep onto the island. Now you'd think the WTF moment would be, why did they not just let go? But honestly, I'm more wondering, how did they not let go? They'd have to have insane grip strength to not let go of that sheet. Just as it looks like Melody's boat's gonna fall from the rock it's perched on, she opens up the sails. And then the boat weirdly floats on the wind and lands on the steps that lead up to the shrine. Tracey asks, "It flies?" And Melody replies,
If you know how.
which honestly just sounds like a conversation between two gamers in 2001 when we were all flying tanks in GTA 3. Look, I don't care how strong the wind is supposed to be right now, but piloting a sailboat up a flight of winding stone steps is complete BS. Like, I can excuse the little escape from the ledge just now because the boat was gonna fall anyway. But this is way beyond my suspension of disbelief. Just have them get off the boat and walk up the steps instead of all this bollocks. This next conversation makes fuck all sense to me. Melody says, well, if Ash needs help, his girlfriend's here. And when Misty goes to correct her, she says, well, you said it yourself. You're a girl and you're his friend, right? Oh, I hate people like this. It sounds to me like she's just dicking with Misty at this point. Like she's basically trying to get Misty to agree that Melody's referring to Misty as Ash's girlfriend in like a matey way, like, oh, me and my girlfriends are all going shopping, that kind of thing. But we all know that if Misty were to be like, oh yeah, well I guess in that sense I am kind of his girlfriend, yeah, then Melody would just be a twat about it later. Honestly, I'm just sick of hearing the word girlfriend now. This show should be about friends catching Pokemon or friends battling Pokemon or the forces of nature or whatever, not about the love lives of children. Direct quote from this guy.
Poor Moltres, you seem so miserable.
Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. It's in an electrified cage. What do you expect? As much as I enjoyed the fourth wall break of Team Rocket remarking about being on the big screen, Ash saying he'll have to catch this one on video just really made me feel so bloody old. Do some of you watching even know what a VHS looks like? After Melody's boat, which somehow has managed to get all the way up the stairs, crashes past Team Rocket and almost kills Ash, she has a go at him for getting them stranded on the island. Nobody asked you to fly your boat all the way up the mountain, knobhead. If you'd have left it by the beach like a normal person, you'd have a way to get back, wouldn't you, you numpty? Melody mentions Misty and Ash getting married and Misty gets mad again. Honestly, I'm just so bored of this childish bollocks. It all just feels so shoehorned in at this point. Do you know what? I hope whoever wrote this script goes to open a pot of dip from Domino's, but just as it opens, some of the dip spurts out onto their nice clean shirt. I know, it's a little extreme, but still. Direct quote from Jessie.
Listen to me, kid. When you get involved with the opposite sex, you're only asking for trouble.
Man, I can just imagine all the outraged mums in the theater like,
She said sex.
I thought this was a Pokemon movie.
Direct quote from James.
Yes, and that's the kind of trouble I stay out of.
Now, the low-hanging fruit here is to be like, oh, James stays out of trouble with the opposite sex. James is gay, confirmed. However, isn't that just a little bit ignorant? This very well could be James insinuating that he's asexual or even aromantic. Open your minds, people. Meowth says Jesse and James don't need the opposite sex because they have each other. Mate, I'm with Jesse. What the hell does that even mean? Is he saying that Jesse's a man? Or that James is a woman? Or that they're both neither? Or that they're both? Answers on a postcard. Zapdos turns up, and shortly after, Pikachu begins communicating with it via electricity somehow. And somehow, Meowth is also able to translate this. Oh, come off it. I can accept Meowth being able to translate Pokemon's speech, but how the hell is he supposed to understand a conversation made up of electrical energy? Not to mention, Zapdos's motive here is absolute bollocks too. It's here because Moltres is gone, so it's claiming Fire Island as its own now. I just don't get why Zapdos would care about that. And like, what's wrong with Lightning Island? Why is he not happy there? And if Zapdos is here, then who's watching over Lightning Island? Does this mean Articuno's gonna go claim it? Something you can claim right now is 10% off your GFuel with code ACE. That's right, for those not in the loop, GFuel is an energy formula with zero sugar, barely any calories, and a whole heap of wonderful flavors like the returning Nemesis tea. It's back in tubs, it's been reskinned, it's the best bloody flavor going. It's my personal favorite that I've been bitching about not being available for months, and it's finally back in full force. Go get yourself a tub of Nemesis tea. Oh, it's a lemonade iced tea flavor. It is so incredible. Please go get it. It is wonderful. Oh, that is so wonderful. And it tastes even better out of our channel's own branded GFuel shaker, the Gary 2. Please go get yourself a Gary 2 shaker. There's plenty still available. And thank you to everyone that has supported the channel by picking up the Gary 2 and using code ACE for 10% off when they do. Remember though, GFuel is for over 18s because it contains caffeine. Don't give children caffeine. They're annoying enough as it is. And because it contains caffeine, drink it responsibly. Don't be a dickhead. So the bad guy's airship turns up and drains Zapdos of its electrical energy. But then when he sends out his weird electrical cage things to catch Zapdos, they for some reason also capture Ash and friends and Team Rocket and the boat? Mate, what kind of technology can detect Moltres, Zapdos and Articuno's exact locations but can't tell the difference between Zapdos and a boat? I love that when the next scene starts, Zapdos is going absolutely radio rental in its cage, and then we pan over to Moltres, who's just there all chill and zen like,
Yeah, this place ain't so bad, you know.
I mean, I'm sure it's just exhausted, but I like to think it had a little look around and thought this is definitely an upgrade from Fire Island. As the bad guy appears, whose name is Lawrence III, but I really can't recall the part of the movie where he actually says that his name is Lawrence III. So someone let me know in the comments, at what point in the movie does anybody actually refer to him as Lawrence III? Because I've watched this movie 3 times in the last couple of days and I never once hear the name mentioned. I must just be missing it or something, but anyway, we'll call him Lawrence III from now on. So after Lawrence III appears and brags about almost having the complete set of legendary birds, we get this direct quote from Misty.
That's disgusting. The way you talk, it's like Pokemon are just things to collect, like dolls or stamps.
I mean, Misty, that's the point of the entire franchise. You know, gotta catch 'em all. Mate, let's hope nobody ever introduces Misty to Go. Meanwhile, a news report shows that tens of thousands of Pokemon are traveling by sea and by air and as close as they can get on land to the central island. And whilst at the time you wouldn't have batted an eyelid at this, watching it back nowadays, I can't help but notice. That's an awful lot of Kanto Pokemon. You'd think with something as earth-shaking as this, you'd have Pokemon from other regions getting involved, wouldn't you? I know, they weren't invented yet, whatever. It's just funny looking back and remembering that back then, this really is all there was. Also, Blastoise's chin is wrong, and oh, isn't Ekans such a cute little swimmy boy? Look at Professor Oak with every 90s kid's dream. The ballpoint pen with interchangeable different coloured tips. Man, if you had one of these bad boys back then, you were basically a god in the playground. What's that, teacher? Why, yes, I have written my title in blue and underlined it in red. I trust that'll be good enough for a smiley face stamp on my work? No? According to Oak's theory, if the balance between the powers of Zapdos, Moltres and Articuno are disrupted, disrupted, this could lead to the entire Earth being flooded. Mate, what is it with Pokemon villains and just being really, really stupid? Like, what you're telling me here is the guy poaching the legendaries is hoping to be the owner of Lugia, on a planet where every other human has died due to mass flooding. What a twat. The reporter asks Delia Ketchum who she is, and she responds,
My son and his friends are traveling in the Orange Islands, and if things get as bad as Professor Oak says, I may never see my boy again, and Ash is the whole world to me.
yeah. Not really answered the question though, have you? Come on, Delia, pay attention, love. As the snow gets thicker, the Slowking says,
I could use pants.
ah ha ha ha, you get it, guys? 'Cause he's a Pokemon. He doesn't have clothes. Man, what a stark reminder that I'm watching a movie aimed at 7-year-olds. As Ash and the gang read the prophecy, we get this direct quote from James.
If it is true, all intelligent life will be destroyed. And I'll be...
And he's instantly cut off by Meowth, who says,
You will be fine.
not gonna lie, this took me a few moments. At first, I was like, oh mate, that's so wholesome. Meowth's reassuring James that he'll... Oh wait, no. Oh my god, what an absolutely cataclysmic burn. Yeah, you know what? Someone rushed James to the burn unit immediately. That was amazing. The gang realize they need to set Zapdos and Moltres free, so Ash does what Ash does best. He runs full pelt at Moltres' cage. Face first. Well done, Ash. Well done. We see Lugia under the water, hearing the cries of Articuno and deciding to get involved. Oh yeah, I see how it is, mate. Moltres and Zapdos get abducted and you don't give a toss. But Articuno gets attacked and suddenly you're in full White Knight mode. That, Lugia, is favoritism. Skipping over the fact that Jessie just straight up calls Weezing ugly and that's just rude, James throws his Pokeball with the white side up. Yet in the very next frame, it's red side up. I mean, that's a gnarly trick shot, James, but is now really the time? Ash ends up sending out all of his Pokemon, bar Snorlax, to try and destroy Moltres' cage. And Team Rocket have Arbok and Weezing doing their best with Zapdos' cage. But Misty and Tracey don't even try sending out any of their Pokemon to help. That's not very protagonisty. Ash's Charizard ducks to avoid Moltres' flamethrower. Charizard, mate, you're a fire type. How on earth are you scared of fire? Ash's Charizard is a pussy bitch. Pass it on. Moltres destroys Zapdos' cage, and in return, Zapdos electrocutes Moltres. And if we're following our type chart, Moltres should be absolutely done in by this. But of course, Moltres just shakes it off and flies away because anime. Oh look, it's one of those janky CGI objects that don't blend with the background's cartoony aesthetic that Pokemon love using so much. I was gonna say the CGI for the airship wasn't that bad in this movie, but this scene made me do a full 180. That shit is busted. As everyone runs from the crash-landed airship onto Lightning Island, and for some reason straight past the shrine where the lightning sphere is kept, the shrine gets destroyed by one of the airship's propellers, and after everyone falls to the ground, the lightning sphere lands perfectly in front of Ash. Oh, fuck off. Isn't it a bit early for the writers to be giving up on writing this movie?
Sod it, just hand Ash the orb so we can clock out.
As Articuno, Zapdos and Moltres fight, Jessie and James say they'd hate to be hit by their fire or lightning. And Meowth says he'd hate to be hit by their droppings. Great, now I'm imagining giant legendary bird shits. Thanks for that, Meowth. After taking a detour to carry Ash and friends on their boat all the way to the shrine where the Slowking is, Lugia finally reveals itself, and Ash doesn't even bother reaching for his Pokedex. Oh, for God's sake, mate, I thought you wanted to be a Pokemon master. Okay, so the 3 legendary birds have now stopped fighting each other in order to fight Lugia, and to be honest, I'm really confused about their motivations. Like earlier, Zapdos wanted to rule Fire Island. Well, right now, there's nobody there, so surely it should just bugger off there. And how did they suddenly go from wanting to kill each other to teaming up to take down Lugia? I'm just really not following at this point. Although, that could just be because I'm bored. I might be wrong, but when Melody recites the prophecy, she says, and lest the earth will turn to ash. But when Lawrence III read out the prophecy at the start of the movie, I'm sure it was, and thus the earth will turn to ash. Worse yet, I've gone back and listened to that line at the start of the movie like 30 extra times now, and I can hear the word thus and the word lest depending on which word word is in my mind at the time. What do you reckon? Did Melody get the prophecy right, or did she get it wrong? Because I can't tell anymore. After Lugia gets hit by Thunderbolt from Zapdos, Flamethrower from Moltres, and an Ice Beam from Articuno, it falls to the ground and goes through the ice to the water below. As soon as that happens, the three legendary birds use those same attacks on the hole, which covers it in a thick layer of ice. Thing is, I'm pretty sure ice, electricity, and fire don't mix together to make even thicker ice, do they? It just seems a bit weird to me. Wouldn't the fire just melt the ice as it's forming, and wouldn't the electricity just add extra heat? Any scientists in the comments? Let me know. Ah, you get it, guys? The legend said the Earth will turn to ash. No, not turn to ash like be burnt to cinders. Turn to ash like turn to him for guidance or hope or whatever bollocks. I kind of want to say that was some clever wordplay, but also it did make me want to say, Tracey tells Ash he's the only one who matches the legend perfectly. I mean, him and every other person named Ash, surely. Ash even says it himself. Right now, he wishes his mum had named him Bob instead of Ash. It's literally only his name that matches the legend, nothing else. Tracey once again proves that he's much more bearable when his mouth is shut. After Melody plays Lugia's song, we get this direct quote from Lugia.
The song has restored my strength.
Of course it has. Lugia explains that only once all three treasures have been placed in the shrine can its song harmonize with the three birds' powers and calm them down. Honestly, you should have just put the treasures on the shrine ages ago. It does seem pretty stupid to have stored them on the other islands when you think about it. I'm just saying you could have saved yourself a lot of hassle, Lugia, by planning ahead. Direct quote from Ash.
Right now, I feel more like the frozen one.
It's not a WTF moment, just be a real shame to not appreciate that dad joke. As Ash sleds across the ice to get the treasure from Ice Island, the three legendary birds destroy the path in front of him. And so he returns Charizard to its Pokeball as he and his other Pokemon run to safety. Here's a crazy idea though. Why not just fly on Charizard like you literally did in the last episode? Listen, I'm always here for a Team Rocket face turn. They're always super wholesome, and that's great. But look at Meowth's paw and tell me you don't see what I see. So after Ash grabs the ice sphere, Lugia tells Ash to jump on its back so that it can take Ash back to the shrine. But that just makes me wonder why Lugia didn't just give Ash a lift to Ice Island in the first place. Like until now, whenever I thought why doesn't Ash just ride Lugia, I'd think, oh wait, it's because the others are attacking Lugia. But that's still happening now, so Lugia should have taken Ash there and not just back. Hang on, I really don't remember Team Rocket sacrificing themselves in this movie, especially not while making it very clear that they think it's permanent. The three of them literally discuss how they're weighing Lugia down and they need to let go if Ash has any chance of saving the world, and so they let go. Then when Ash asks them what they're doing, they say Team Rocket's blasting off for good, suggesting they know they're going to die. Then as they're getting close to the ground, they literally say, this is it then, let's not say goodbye, let's just say we're gonna die. Pokemon! That's mad fucked up right there. Luckily, they just land in the water and are absolutely fine, but still, lads, remember your audience. Don't mind me, I'm just really annoyed that when all these Pokemon say their cries, the very obvious Poliwhirl says Poliwrath. It wouldn't be that big of a deal to me because it's just once, but this happens every time a Poliwhirl is on screen in the Pikachu short that played before this movie. I get that they look similar, but they're honestly really easy to tell apart. And they especially should be for the people who make the bloody show. So Lawrence III turns up again and fires one of his electric cage things to try and trap Lugia, and at this point I've really got to wonder, does this guy actually realize the world will end if he doesn't set Lugia free? Like, does he actually understand the prophecy? Because I've heard him read it, but he doesn't seem to have much of a grasp on what's actually happening here. After Lugia destroys the machine that controls the weird cage thing and therefore releases itself, it falls into the water with Ash, and Misty decides that she's the one that should jump in and save him, and we get this direct quote from Misty.
And Ash is never really alone, because he's got me.
Oh god, I can hear the Pokeshippers now.
See, she loves him.
I do wish these people had learned more about actual friendships. Like, saying someone's never alone because they've got you doesn't necessarily mean that you're romantically in love with them. You could just be really close friends, you know, like the kind of friend that's been alongside you for your entire journey, much like Misty has with Ash. Hell, I was literally talking to one of my best friends on the phone last week and I told him he's never alone because I'll always be a phone call away. Doesn't mean I want to bum him though, does it? So after Ash puts the final treasure in place and Melody plays Lugia's song, Lugia rises up from the depths as the world magically turns back to normal. Lugia then invites Ash onto his back for another ride as he creates a river that stretches across the sky. Anybody else wondering what the point of the Sky River is? Like, what purpose does that serve? And isn't all that water just going to fall back into the ocean and raise the sea level anyway when you're done with it? I've got to ask, what would happen if Melody would have stopped playing right now? Would everything just revert back to chaos and the end of the world just resume? Ash's mum then gives this whole spiel about how she misses Ash all the time, but he's a Pokemon trainer, so that's just how it goes, and then asks if next time he could try to save the world a little closer to home. Now, I get that this is meant to be a bit of a joke and not all that serious, but also, how the hell does she expect him to respond to that? So Dickhead over here finds his Ancient Mew card, which was the beginning of his collection, and comments on how this is how it began and how it will all begin again. Wait, so the antagonist of this movie, who almost brought about the end of the world just so he could own a Lugia, literally got away with it? Like, sure, his airship is destroyed, but I'm pretty sure he could just have another one built. He's somehow gotten away with zero repercussions. Can someone please tell Pokemon that the bad guy's plan getting foiled, but him still being able to walk free to do whatever he likes isn't a compelling story? Team Rocket and Slowking give us one final fourth wall break to send the viewers home happy, and that's fine with me. It's nice to have a smile put back on my face after such a boring movie. So those are my WTF moments of Pokemon the Movie 2000, The Power of One. Let me know your favourites and any that I missed down in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Head to twitch.tv/AceTrainerLiam for all of my live streams, and go to GFuel.com, pick up the Gary 2 shaker and get 10% off your order with code ACE. But until next time, I'm Ace Trainer Liam. Keep on training.